what's the deal? Where do we get perspective in all of this whole thing? And beyond just what everybody else is talking about, right? Okay, everybody's talking about it. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Russia attacking Ukraine for anybody other than Ukraine's not really that big a deal. It's not. It's really not. Sure, let's have democracy reign supreme. I'm all for that. And it's kind of shitty of Russia to do it. And at this point, though, I don't know that it's our obligation to stop that from happening. And in a quote from Tulsi Gabbard, all we had to do to avoid this and keep Russia from going in there is tell them Ukraine's not joining NATO. And if Ukraine doesn't join NATO, Putin backs off. No real problem. Everything goes back to normal. No big deal. Okay. Unfortunately, there's this whole supply of gas thing that's happening. And the U.S. right now, via the boats, is shipping a ton of natural gas to Europe and making a ton of money in Europe. So there's some parties that have got a pretty good vested interest in us, putting up a fight with, getting Russia to fight Ukraine and shut off gas supply to the rest of Europe. All right. Lame. So again, a bunch of our guys can go die for nothing. Fantastic. All right. Although, again, like I said, I'm all for supporting democracy, but all they have to do to protect their democracy is just be like, oh, yeah, they're not going to join NATO, which wasn't going to happen anyway. They don't have anything to offer NATO. So, and there's tons of other ways to be involved with NATO without being in NATO. So, all right. And Putin might do it just to put up the price of oil so they can sell oil for $120 a barrel. Maybe that. Federal Reserve meeting. You got two sides. You got one side says, let's raise it 0.5 point. Let's get a whole percentage up there. Now you've got another side that says, nah, let's not do nothing. And in the middle, you got Powell, who's kind of made it clear in the last FOMC meeting and the last time he spoke that they don't intend to raise interest rates until after the taper. Okay, this is, and again, we kind of want to keep an eye on this before we go into the technical analysis side of this, and so we get some sort of perspective as to what's going to happen. Well, inflation sucks and it's really bad. Coming up this week, we have got, give me 1 second, we got to pull this up really quick because I forgot to write it down. I got to pull this up. I'm going to go over to Market Watch. Okay. This week we get the producer price index. Okay, that's probably going to come in hot. We got retail sales coming in. Those are going to look pretty good. I think we've got a lot of retail sales. We got import price index, capacity utilization. This is the big one, business inventories. All right. I am thinking we are going to see those business inventories on the rise, which means that the higher inventories, you got to understand, higher inventories can be interpreted two ways, right? One, higher inventories means, hey, they have more inventories, so supply chain is opening up, okay? The supply side is getting there. That's one way to do it. The other way that you can look at inventories is more or less high inventories means lower demand, means Americans are starting to reject all of that stuff. Okay. I'm going to say it's a little column A, a little column B. I would say there's some stuff that's probably managed to get off their boats and into stores, and there's some of it where certain Americans are just not buying things. I look at my own personal shopping habits, and I would say there's stuff that I am backing off of buying, and for two reasons. One, we're doing this whole process from 10 to a million, And then on top of that, we're doing, so I don't want to spend money that could go to build my $1 million. That's what I don't want to do. But at the same time, I also don't have money to spend. So there's a lot of stuff I'm not buying. Okay. All right, great. There it is. So that's a little bit starting to happen for me. I think it's going to start happening for other people and other businesses and stuff like that as well. It's probably going to, as inflation really starts to move in. Again, just saw the first round of price raises or the second round of price raises for 2022 back in January. Looking to see that continue as inflation gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So going to look for those inventories to rise as a result of consumers rejecting higher prices. That's where I'm thinking. Okay. Last piece of this thing I didn't mention in the opening monologue here was that we need to keep an eye on evictions. Okay. We want to look at evictions because right now they are starting to move up. They haven't gotten out of control, but the eviction moratorium is over. And so you're starting to see those evictions go up. And you are also starting to see some foreclosures start to pick up in pace. Okay. So we want to keep an eye on these two things to see if we ever get like some sort of cascade on that. Okay. So those are things we need to pay attention to. In the meantime, you've got what you have to pay attention to when we go to the chart and look at the chart is go back to these two conflicts. Okay. Will they, won't they? Will they, won't they? Will they go into Ukraine, Russia, or America? Who knows, right? We're looking at that. There's an uncertainty there. Is the Fed going to emergency raise rates? We will know that tomorrow after their emergency meeting, and then again on Wednesday. Now, thing to keep in mind is that tomorrow Bullard is being interviewed. Bullard he's one of the presidents of the Federal Reserve. He is the guy on Friday who came out and said, hey, I'd be for raising interest rates a whole point by July, being really hard on inflation. Okay. Bullard's talking tomorrow. So it is possible things are still going to be up in the air. Okay. Wall Street doesn't like uncertainty. Okay. That's the one thing they don't like, Is it going to be likely that they're going to get a half a point in March? Doubt it. If they're going to get their half a point, it's either going to be in April or it's going to be in May. One of those two times. They're going to get it in. They got 3 meetings between here and the middle of summer, and it's going to be in one of the later meetings. They're not going to shock the market that much. And they're really not going to shock it while they're trying to offload their bonds that they're holding. So, again, you've got these possibilities sitting here, and they're just possibilities. Look, they could come out tomorrow and be like, yeah, we're going to raise it whole 500 basis points. They could just tank it. Okay. Anything can happen. So what we're going to do as we go through this, we're going to look at the chart, okay? And before we go to the chart, though, however, we are going to take a look. You can see here, you can see my balance. This is where we're going to be starting the week, 635.80. Problem with that number is I don't have this in the form of buying power just yet. It will probably not be till Tuesday that I have that much money for buying power. So, again, as long as I don't botch things too bad tomorrow, we can find a good trade to take tomorrow. This should be pretty good. Coming into Tuesday, we should really have a great week as far as like what we can do with this. This gives me a lot of chances to swing 2 different directions very easily. I still, because that balance is still so small, will be taking very small, low risk positions. All right. Again, there's a couple of other things too that I'm going to talk about as far as the channel goes. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay. So again, you can see the balance. If you guys are interested in seeing these balances before I do the show, you can follow me on Instagram at the Russell Journal. I post this every day, every afternoon to Instagram. So party all the time. All right. The other thing that I want to talk about before we go to the chart is this show is moving. I'm no longer doing it in the evening. Not a lot of viewership in the evening, so we're going to try pre-market. 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is when I'm going to. If you're in the East Coast, that's 8:30 in the morning. So that's just about an hour before the actual day trading session, the day session opens. So we'll see if we can't, this is going to let us be a little bit more ahead of the news, a lot less guessing, and a lot less hindsight. I want to be in my trading. I want to be forward looking. I want to be talking about this from a perspective of being forward looking. I'm not really super happy about coming in. Look, all these stupid gurus come in and they're like, hey, you can tell what the chart did now after you see the whole day. But when you're in the trade and that chart is unfolding before you, it's like reading a novel as it's being written, and you're guessing what the next word is. And there's some stuff that's like, okay, he's going to use the word and next. That's possible. But really, really kind of difficult as far as things go. Okay, that's not what I want to do. That one there. All right. So we are going to go to the chart. Transition. Okay, we got Market Watch up here behind me. Woo. Okay. Oh no, that's what's that? Dow futures. So let's go in. Let's actually do that. Let's go to not there. Let's go here. I just like to do it this way, but okay, we can go look at the Dow futures. CNN Business. These guys have a pretty good up-to-date thing as to what the futures are doing. Dow is up 34 points. I'll let you guys see this. You can see Dow is up 34 points. S&P's up 3, and the NASDAQ is up 4. As of right now, that is relatively positive. It is also relatively flat. Okay, going over here. So things are relatively good. Okay, now let's do this one. All right, there we go. So I can see what I'm doing. All right, we are looking at IWM. This is the Russell 2K. Okay, again, you can see this big move down, followed by this big move up. This move up, right? And you're presently in this bull channel. Okay, we're at this point of really some sort of point of no return at this point. Here, okay, if we fall below this line right here, we will come down to that line. And again, notice this support here. Find that double bottom there. But it's more than likely we're going back down to this line at 188. Okay. So that is let me look really quick. What is this? So you're looking at 196 and 188 are sort of the big areas that we're interested in there on IWM. Okay. Again, with the uncertainty, I would say 196 is very well likely. Okay. But with it right here at I would also say that 188 is probably pretty well likely. There is a chance that you will get just no volume tomorrow. Everybody will just sit and wait with bated breath. So you will get a possibility of just you'll get a possibility of just some just a little bit of sideways action tomorrow. So again, it really can go any direction. With the potential negative catalysts that are out there, I would definitely say that you're more than likely headed to the downside and looking for a massive risk-off move. Not to mention, okay, so there's a bunch of guys, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you this. Okay, so see this little spot, this peak here? Okay, then you see this peak, see that green candle right there? Okay, this is the daily chart. This is the daily chart. Okay, see how there's like this gap between these two candles? What happens is a stock, any stock, and this is a setup. Okay, this is what you call a breakout. right? Buying the breakout. Okay. You establish these levels. Okay. Establish, okay, here's the first green one. You get the pullback, and then you get this one. Okay. So now kind of in this area right here, you've got these levels. Okay. Now what you're looking for, you retest. So this here was resistance. You come up, blow through resistance, you pull back, you test to see if resistance will act as support. At support, you're able to buy this. And then there is a big group of these guys right here. They won't buy until the price gets over here, right? And if I check out what price that actually was, it was once the price pops over. So for us, that was at 203.99, so about 204. Once it pops over here, you're buying. This is the breakout. They're buying this breakout. Okay. So what we're looking for then, again, pulls back, pops up, comes down. What we're going to look for is either A, for it to hold this trend line, or B, for it to hold this support. Okay. So this is what happens. Now, there's a ton of guys in here. They bought up here. They were going to try and drive it higher with market orders. It fell back. Okay. It came back. It's now below the breakout level. Okay. And so what they're going to do is they're going to try and so a bunch of them, this failed. As far as they're concerned, it failed. They sold. So they're going to sell it down to here. Okay. This is what the traders are going to do. This is the group. Okay. Now, again, you've got dip buyers that, hey, that's a pullback. Let's buy it and see if we can get it to continue higher. Again, I would say it's less than likely. Now, this is the daily chart. So we're going to go over right now and take a look at something like the 30-minute and see if we can get some sort of idea as to how these guys are actually behaving right now and what they may do. Okay. So again, you're here. You can see our trend line that we drew. Okay. It's come through there. And now on the 30-minute, you're extended below the trend. Okay. Now, what I'm going to say is when this thing opens up in the morning, I'm going to say the likelihood that you gap down is going to be high. Okay. $1, $2, whatever. Go deeply into the whole oversold sort of thing. Pretty fast. Okay. And that's when these guys are going to hammer this. And what you'll see happen right away is this trend line will become resistance. It'll test that trend line. If it breaks back above it, you're going bullish. They're buying the dip. If it falls below it, they're not buying the dip. The sellers have control. That's how I'm reading this. And this is how you're going to have to behave with it. If we're already extended through on the 30-minute, so there's a chance now, and that's barely extended through, just so you know, that is not a huge move through that. So it's still anybody's game. We catch the gap down, we're going down. We test this line and break back up above it, we're off to the races. So would have loved to have puts on that. Okay. Now another, can we look at, I don't know if we can look at this stuff over here. See this move down, catch the move up, right? Right now, this whole thing is trending in the downward direction and in the direction of what we would call a symmetrical triangle. If you draw, okay, so you've got obviously this trend line right down here. And then you've got from this peak to this peak is this is a high. And this is a lower high. See how this high is way up here and this high is down here? You've got lower highs in this, okay? So it's possible you're in this symmetrical triangle. So it has to break one way or the other, and it's uncertain. Symmetrical triangles happen as a result of uncertainty in the market, okay? Now, the one where I really think we're looking good for a nice move to the downside, this bad baby over here. Okay. This is QQQ. We'll go on the daily. Look, okay. So again, what makes me think QQQ is going down further is you can look and see how your, let me go to this side. You can look and see how this thing is already extended below this, anything that was resistance acting as support, you've extended below that already. So the thing is that you're probably coming down to here at least. If not, you can get below that and possibly even further below that. Now, this was our original Elliott wave right here. And if you look at Elliott waves, it goes, this is your A line, up is your B line, and this is your C line. Now, if that corrective wave, right, continues on to the downside, then this becomes, this whole move here becomes A. This move back up becomes B. And what you're going to look for is a corrective move even further down to C. Now, what you're supposed to do with that is grab your Fibonacci tool and draw Fibonacci levels to tell you where it's going to bottom at. I haven't done that because I don't trade QQQ right now because those option premiums are way too high for me. So I'm not trading that right now. But man, we're going to take a look tomorrow, man. When I see what the prices are on those, I'm going to say QQQ is going down pretty hard. Last one we probably ought to check out is SPY. Again, SPY is, and this is obvious, right? This is the difference between QQQ and SPY, okay? SPY, obviously, look at, you got the same upward movement. You got the same kind of double top right in there. But here's the difference. On the daily, let me go back over here. On the daily, you've come down here and look that. That's resistance. Right now, resistance is acting as support. They're very happy right there. So good chance SPY will try and make a move up tomorrow, whereas QQQ will probably continue to the downside. A lot of stocks in these two are fairly well the same, which means that we probably, and I hadn't thought about this until just now, but you guys can see my process here. Again, look at Apple. Okay. We can look at Apple on the daily. Okay. Apple got a long way it can go down, right? We've got a long move to the downside that we can take if it goes. A hard part about this bad baby is she up, and it's Apple, having a share of Apple at any point in time seems good at any price. So for right now. So the one thing about Apple moves some indexes, right? If Apple can hold on, then QQQ can hold on. And I would say if you're on your daily chart, go to the bottom of that green candle right there. That's probably going to be your bottom right there for Apple. And you'll probably get a continuation to the upside. All right. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about that. Again, there's other stuff we can turn on. We can look at the Bollinger Bands. We can look at the EMA and stuff like that. Right now, this is a total game of support and resistance. All your Bollinger Bands, all your EMAs, all your SMAs, all your VWAPs, all that stuff, all that's really going to do is tell you kind of when these moves are going to happen and give you confirmations they're going to happen. As of right now, we're looking to move down. So that's kind of all I can say about that. Let me go back. We're going to do this. All right. Well, guys, I'd like to thank you all for sticking with me. I'm Russell Liss for the Russell Journal. And, thank you for joining me on my journey so far from 10 to $1 million. Really excited to see this get to 1,000. That would be pretty cool. In the meantime, you guys might as well just pretend I said some sort of really good catchphrase and have yourself a good night. Oh, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 5:30, first day starting out.